Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we are starting a brand new unit talking about money. It's all about the money, money, money. And I am so excited because money is one of those things that you are going to use throughout the rest of your life. And I'm excited to teach you guys this because hopefully you've had a little bit of experience with money. Today we're going over coins and identifying them and also counting them underneath a dollar, okay? So first of all, we have the penny. And on the penny, we have the 16th president, which is Abraham Lincoln, and the penny is worth 1 cent. If you look closely, this is my cent sign. It looks like a C because cent begins with the letter C. Now, you have to either have a cent sign or a dollar sign with whatever number you are talking about for it to be counted as money, okay? Because if you just have a random number without a dollar sign or without a cent sign, no one's going to know or understand that you're talking about money. So for today, we're going to be using the cent sign because we are dealing with coins that are lower than a dollar. Once you get to a dollar or above, you're going to want to use a dollar sign, and we'll get into that more in our next lesson. So back to the penny. We have this penny. It is a different color than all of the rest of the coins. It's a copper color. It has Abraham Lincoln on the front, and it has the Lincoln Memorial on the back. And when you hear somebody talking about the front and the back of a coin, you might hear them say heads or tails. That is referring to the side where the president's head is at, and the tails is the other side. And that goes for all the coins because all four of our main coins have a president on them. And so whenever you hear somebody say heads or tails, like you might hear at like the Super Bowl when they flip the coin to see what side goes first, that's what they're talking about. So our penny is worth 1 cent, and it takes a lot of pennies to equal a dollar. We're going to talk about that in just a second. Next, we have our nickel. Our nickel is worth 5 cents. It's like if you took 5 pennies and combined them together to get 1 nickel. So our nickel is a silver-looking color. It has our third president, Thomas Jefferson, on it. And on the back, it has his home, which is Monticello. So the nickel is much bigger than the penny, but not as big as the quarter. It's in between like the penny and the quarter. It's also bigger than the dime. So in terms of size, it's pretty big. It's worth 5 cents and it's thick. So when you like turn the coin sideways and you look at them from like the edge, it has a much thicker edge than the penny and the dime, especially. Okay, so our nickel is a little bit larger than our penny, and that's how you're going to tell the difference. Obviously, the penny is also a copper color, but this is how you're going to tell the difference between a dime, a quarter, and a nickel. The nickel is the medium-sized silver-colored coin, and it is only worth 5 cents, okay? I wanted to show you a newer nickel. This is what the newest nickels look like. They redid the design of the heads side of the nickel a few years ago, and this is what the older version looks like. So you might see like an older nickel that looks just like this. It's still worth 5 cents. It's still a nickel, but there are two different variations of a nickel. This one has Thomas Jefferson looking more straightforward, and this one has the side profile of his face. So all of these are nickels. This is the front, this is the back, this is also an older front of the nickel. So if you see these coins, you need to know those are worth 5 cents. Next, we have the dime. The dime has Franklin Roosevelt on it, and it is, I think he was our 32nd president. But yeah, he is facing sideways, and that's his side profile. The dime is worth 10 cents, and it is the smallest silver-looking coin out of all the coins that we are looking at today, okay? It is smaller than a penny, but it is actually worth 10 pennies. It's worth 2 nickels because 5 10. And the dime takes 10 of them to equal a dollar, okay? So then our last coin that we're going to talk about today is a quarter, and a quarter is worth 25 cents. Now, a quarter has our first president, George Washington, on it, and on the back it has our nation's bird, which is an eagle. And it takes 4 of these quarters to make $1, okay? I also included a different version of what the back of a quarter could look like, which is a Virginia quarter. We have a quarter that represents every single state of the United States. So there are 50 different kinds of quarters, and there's actually a few more than that as well, where they have the same front. They all have the same front, which is George Washington, but they have a different back. Either way, they're all quarters. They're all worth 25 cents. But if you see a coin that has like a random thing on it, that's going to be a quarter because it's going to have a different variation, or if it has a different state name on it, you're going to know that that's worth 25 cents, okay? So our quarters are worth 25 cents. They're the largest coin that we're going to be talking about today. The reason why it's called a quarter is because a quarter is actually a fourth of something. When you divide something into 4 pieces, you have 4 quarters, and it takes 4 quarters to make one whole dollar. So let's talk about how much it takes to equal a dollar of each amount of coins. So for pennies, it's going to actually take 100 pennies. Oh my gosh, I know it's a ton to make $1, and that is because it is only worth 1 cent. So I have to have 100 of those 1 cent pennies to make $1, because $1 is 100 cents even. Next, we have nickels. Nickels are worth 5 cents. It actually takes 20 nickels to get to $1 or 100 cents, because if you skip count by fives, it takes 20 times to get to $1. Next, we have dimes. Dimes are worth 10 cents, so it would take 10 dimes to get to 100. If you skip count by 10 times, you're going to get $1, which is 100 cents. And then finally, quarters. Quarters are the most difficult, I think, to skip count by. They're the most difficult to remember, but it takes $4 quarters to equal $1. I want you to think about ice cream day at our school. When you are here and you bring in your ice cream money, you have to have 4 quarters to equal $1. So if you're ever forgetting how many quarters it takes to equal $1, just remember it takes 4, because that's how many it takes to get ice cream, okay? Let's also talk about quarters and skip counting. How much are these quarters worth? Well, as we know, 1 quarter is worth 25 cents. 2 quarters is worth 50 cents. And that's an easier one to remember because 50 is half of 100. And 2 quarters is half of 4 quarters. So if we take the 4 quarters and we divide them up into half, we have 2 quarters and 2 quarters. Those are both worth 50 and 50 because it takes 2 50s to get to 100. I think that the 3 quarters, being 75 cents, is the hardest one to remember. But really, if you just think about adding 50 plus 25, you would get 0 plus 5 is 5, and then 2 plus 5 is 7. So you would get 75 cents. So that's kind of an easy way. And then we all know that 4 quarters equals $1, okay? So if you're ever confused when you're adding up quarters together, you can always write it out to the side, 25 plus 25, and add the different columns. Add the ones column, and then add the tens column to get how much those quarters equal. So we have 25, 50, 75, $1. So now let's talk about counting money together. First of all, we're going to want to start with the largest coin. The largest coin represented here is the quarter. I know this is the quarter because it is the biggest coin, and it also has George Washington on it, okay? And if you look carefully, it says Liberty really big atop the cross. So I know that this is worth 25. Next, I have a dime. This is the smallest silver coin, and it is worth 10 cents. And then I have 2 nickels, and these are both nickels because they both have Thomas Jefferson on them, and they're the newer nickels, but these are both worth 5 cents. So here I have 25 plus 10 plus 5 plus 5. So the cool thing about counting money is you're typically going to be counting by tens or by fives, and we all know how to do that. So let's start out with 25, and let's add in our dime next. So 25 plus 10 would be 25, 35, okay? And I simply, if you need to write it out to the side, you can. But if you think in your head, okay, 25 plus 10. Well, 10 has a 0 in the ones place, so 5 plus 0 is 5. And then 2 and 1 in the tens place gives me 3. So it's just 35 cents. So really, when you're adding 10 to something, the ones place isn't changing. The only thing going up is the tens place, and it's going up by 1. So we have 25 plus 10 is 35. Now we're going to switch to counting by fives. This is where a lot of people get tripped up, so you have to be the boss of your brain and tell your brain, no, we're going to stop and we're going to slow down and count money correctly. So I have 35, and now if I add 5 to that, 35, 40, 45. So together I have 45 cents. And today we're using that cent sign because we are dealing with amounts of money underneath $1. So we don't need to use a dollar sign yet. And the cent sign goes on the end of the amount of money over here, whereas the dollar sign would come on the left side. All right, let's try another one. Here, I don't have any quarters. I just have some dimes, a nickel, and 2 pennies. So you always want to start counting money with the biggest amount of coins that you have, or the one that is worth the most. So the dimes are worth the most here, so that's where I'm going to start, and I also have the most of them. So I'm going to start here by counting by tens. 10, 20, 30. Now I'm going to count in my nickel, which is worth 5. So 35, 36, 37, because these are worth 1 cent a piece. So my total is 37 cents. Next, we are looking at several quarters. We have 1 nickel and 1 penny. This is what I like to do. If this is confusing for you, on your paper, I would draw out like the coin and write the amount inside of it so you know how much they are worth. If you don't know how much they're worth just by looking at them, you might want to slow your brain down, get a piece of paper, draw a circle, and write 25 cents inside of it. So you know you've got 25, 25, 25, 5, and 1 here that we're adding up together. All right, so we have 3 quarters. So I have 25, 25 plus another, so 2 quarters. Is half of 4 quarters, and half of 100 cents is 50. So 25, 50, and then if I add 25 more to that, 50 plus 25 is 75 cents. Now I need to count in my nickel. 75 plus 5 is 80, and then plus 1 penny is 81 cents. Okay? And we're going to do one more together. We have all the coins represented here. We have 2 quarters, 2 dimes, a nickel, and a penny. And if you'll notice, I always start with the coins that are worth the most, just because that's the easiest way to do it for me. And then we move on to the coins that are worth the second amount, then the third amount, then the least amount. So let's start by counting these 2 quarters. We have 1, 2 quarters, which is 25, 50. Now we're going to count by tens, 60, 70. Now we're going to count by fives, 75, and now we're going to count by ones, 76, 77. So that's 77 cents. All right, guys, I hope that this video helped explain how to count money. Good luck practicing, and let me know if you have any questions or need any help. Good luck, guys.